Hello and welcome. I apologise for moving the stream an hour later. If anybody noticed that I moved it an hour later. The reason for that was just being too busy, basically being too busy in the day. I really had to move it, so very sorry about that. So we do have the list. If anyone comes in from the list, we will do their readings. If anyone new pops into the stream, we can do you don't have to be on the list to get a reading, basically. Some people on the list who I'm very connected with, I may get more of a message, okay? If I've connected with your star family a few times, I may get a message. So I do have my trusty channeling book here. And, oh, thank you, Leon, the sound is good, that's great. But pretty much we will be doing, I have some questions from a Pleiadian starseed, which I'll probably just be doing first, to get out of the way and make sure I don't forget. And then I will be starting on the list with anyone who comes in from the list, like I said, doing starseed origin readings. And like I said, if I'm quite connected with you, I've picked up your starseed origin before, might get a bit more of a message there. But I think it's interesting anyway because we can look at the wider message, of the star family. What is their purpose? What do they want from connecting with people on Earth and things like that? So we have Disha, Peacock Rainbow, Luna, and Leon that I can see in the chat. So any of you on the list? No, okay, we have no one from the... Oh, Luna, we have Luna, okay. So, Luna's from the list. I do believe Jasmine wants a timestamp. Guys, as you know, if you message me beforehand saying you want a timestamp, I'm very happy to do it. I don't just do it. You have to stay in contact with me, let me know you're not going to make it to get a timestamp, basically. So I think we are timestamping for Jasmine, getting a bit of a message if we can, because I've connected a couple of times, I think, with Jasmine, not Jan. And also, Miss Venus cannot make it today, she's just there on the list. But we are answering some important questions for Miss Venus, because... Guys, a very interesting thing that happened. Miss Venus and her POI were on holiday and they saw a UFO, basically, okay. So her POI saw it a lot clearer first, before her. But it was very interesting how it happened because they were in Mexico, and if anyone has been on a previous starseed reading with me before, or had like a conversation with me about Pleiadian starseeds, you will know that I have said before and I have expressed that they visit Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza was like kind of a landmark place for the crafts to come, the Pleiadian crafts specifically. And so it's interesting because I don't know if Miss Venus knew that, because I know, I don't know when I said it, I know I've said it a couple of times, but yes, they were in Mexico, and Chichen Itza is in Mexico, just so you know. So it's so interesting because she's Pleiadian connected anyway, they saw a ship, and she happens to be in Mexico at the time, which I just think was really synchronistic and nice. So going to answer Miss Venus's questions, she can't be here today, but we have Luna and Jasmine who are first on the list, actually. So I didn't realise we had list people in. So you have Jasmine in, who looks like the first person from the list. So thank you, Luna. Oh, hello, Gretel, it's been a while. Yes, thank you, Luna. I do like the background. Imagining this is something like what Miss Venus saw in in Mexico. And it's interesting because I am very transparent about my experiences with ETs, and although I have seen UFOs about twice, I think, two at one point and then one at another point, but I'm not, like, my experiences with ETs are very astral, and I'm very clear about the fact that I go out of body and I have experiences with different beings, and they it's very, when you're astral projecting, it's very kind of, it's more realistic than you kind of imagine it to be, and it feels really like crazy, but it's really strange. But when I kind of talk with beings in that state, they do make me aware of where they're from. So they'll make me aware if they're a light being, they're a interdimensional being, they're, you know, from this realm, from that realm, they're extraterrestrial. So they do kind of make it known, but my experiences are mostly astral. I may do a stream where I do talk a little bit more about the origins of my experiences, because my mother is an experiencer, but very physical. So very physical abductions, being outdoors, you know, being taken to crafts physically. Whereas for me, it's always been very astral. So yeah, I am quite clear about that. So when people do see UFOs in person, you know, with their eyes and not in an astral experience, I find it very, very interesting and affirmative, you know, a confirmation, because the technology is very interesting, and it's not just a physical ship. It can go outside of time. It can, you know, go into different realms, into different dimensions, basically. So it can be difficult to see ships, and it can be why you see one for a second and then it flashes away. So yes, if you see physical ships, I'm very, very interested in your experience. But I just want to say one more thing just before we start. I know I'm in one of my chatty moods here. But we have a dream interpretation stream on the, let me just find the date, on the 12th of December. Okay, so it's not too soon. It's in around 3 weeks, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. The 12th of December. Now, it's a members only stream. But if you are a member, please make sure you are remembering to send in your dreams, because I really do like the dream interpretation streams. Like, when I do the polls, you guys do seem to want them. But when I ask people to send the dreams in, people just don't send them in. So we'll see how it goes. And Luna says, I saw a UFO 2 times in the sky and it quickly disappeared. Yes, and that is what it's like. So when you do see it physically, I feel like they really want you to see it, or there's a better reason for why they came, you know, to our level, to our density, because a lot of them are very high dimensional, you know, high kind of density, whereas we're quite low here. So when they come to our level, there's often a reason for it. So it's interesting to see when you saw that, where you saw that, who it might have been, and all of that. Sometimes when I do starseed healing sessions with clients, the ETs will say, our ship has been spotted around Peru or around, you know, Mexico or wherever it is. They will tell me, and I will look up, like, I'll just Google articles about, like, sightings, and I'll see, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what they said. They said it was sighted, and it was. Yeah, so, okay, wonderful. So we have, yeah, so do get physical confirmations where they will tell me they've been spotted in a certain place, and I will research it and they have been spotted in a certain place. And Luna says it was in 2009. I think there used to be, we're getting less and less physical abductions and more astral projection experiences, in my opinion, because I think that people are kind of beginning to raise their spiritual energy a bit more, so they're able to have those experiences. Whereas, let's say around like the 70s, or like the early 70s, late 60s, there wasn't as much, we weren't as spiritual as a collective, maybe in some parts of the world, and they would be a lot more physical and come into our density a lot more. So I think like around early 70s, there was a lot more abductions than there is now. Physical abductions. Okay, so the music was playing for a very long time and not stopped. So sorry, but going to get on with it now. We have 3 people from the list, so after this starts, oh, there we go. Wonderful. Okay. So after this, I have my Christmas blanket now. It's almost that time, so yes. So we have 3 people from the list. So we have Luna, Jan and Shayna. Jasmine. Why do I keep saying that? Jasmine, Luna, and Shayna. So we're going to do Jasmine, and then Luna. Then I will do Miss Venus's questions because she can't make it, and then I will do Shayna, unless someone else from the list comes in. So if we go through the list quite quick because no one's in, anyone who just jumps in can just come in and, you know, ask for whatever you want, wherever reading. Yeah, physical meeting with aliens would be great, Luna. I would really like to see them more physically sometimes because, yeah, it just feels like confirmation for you, doesn't it, you know? Very interesting. But to be fair though, I don't look at the sky enough, and I live in an area where it's not too bad here, but I've only lived here for 2 years. Where I used to live was very a lot of light pollution. So I think that if you actually lived in a place where there wasn't a lot of light pollution and you just looked at the sky, I think you would see them a lot. But it's because we don't really do that. Sky watching isn't really a hobby that we have anymore. We're so busy, you know, we're indoors all the time. So I think in warmer countries where they maybe sit out a little bit more, they probably do see them more often. You know, you do have to think about as well, how often do I actually look at the sky? Because if you don't look at it a lot, you're not going to see them. So, so Jasmine says, this is an interesting point. So we'll just bring this up before we go in to beginning with Jasmine. Jasmine says, so they're not scary or violent like they show on TV. And that is probably one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about my mother's experiences a lot more, because she had a lot of physical experiences along with astral experiences. And she kind of, I do believe that some people that have experiences are very prone to going down like the conspiracy rabbit holes, because when you experience something like that yourself, you're more inclined to believe that there could be aliens in our society. There could be, a race of aliens controlling the world. You're a bit more inclined to believe that that could be possible if you have your own experiences with them. If you've never even seen an alien in a dream, you're probably not going to think that that could really happen. But my mother has had... Hello, Miss Venus! So my mother had physical abductions, and this was early 70s when she was a child, and I do believe still happens occasionally, because she's seen physical crafts quite often as well, where we used to live, where I could never see them. They were so cloudy most of the time. But what she kind of believes, she had a lot of negative experiences, okay? So my mother isn't as kind of open to the ETs and as loving to them as I am. My experiences have all been astral and have all been positive. So it's interesting. She had a lot of very negative experiences, including eye surgery, procedures, meeting very strange and not nice looking beings, scary beings, which I always wonder what they were, because she was a child, and I think that seeing like a mantid being probably would be scary when you were a child, whereas when I saw the mantid beings, I wasn't so scared because I was kind of willing the experience myself. Whereas when you just have it randomly as a child, I imagine even if the experience isn't that scary, it's more scary, you know? So it would be interesting to get... She always says she will write a book, and I really hope she does one day. But she had a lot of negative experiences of surgeries and things like that, and she kind of believes that the positive experiences were her kind of star family, the positive kind of ETs, and she does believe that the negative experiences may have been government or some kind of faction of, control in the world. People believe in like a shadow government and different kind of factions that we don't see in our day-to-day lives, hear about on the news. So she does kind of have this belief about some of them were not actually ETs, or they were, but they were like the negative kind of beings, and it was, you know, for a purpose of whatever it might be. So if it's you know, hybrid programs, if it's experimenting on like gifted children and things like that. She saw a lot of very horrible things, including things to do with children being taken and things like that. So she is inclined to believe those kind of conspiracy theories, or, you know, believe something along those lines. So yeah, I just thought I would point that out because I do believe like the main differences between me and my mother's experiences is that mine have only rarely been astral, but they've always been positive. So, you know, some of hers have been physical, but they've been negative. So yes, so I do find it interesting and love to connect with people who've also had experiences as well. Maybe giving up on the music soon. Okay, so let's begin with Jasmine then. I don't believe I've seen anyone further up on the list, but just to reiterate for whoever is in here now, I'm getting to the readings now. We have Jasmine, Luna, and Miss Venus and Shayna, sorry, as well, who are from the list. If you're in and you're not from the list, you very, very well may get a reading because there isn't many people in. So, sorry, it says Miss Ven, but that's okay. So, Miss Ven. So let's begin with Jasmine. Miss Venus says, I believe there's definitely different kinds of beings and agendas. Some may not be as kind to us, but I believe the majority wants to help us wake up and remember who we are but can't do the work for us. Yes, I believe that. I believe that we're not a fully evolved kind of... I don't really like saying that word because it makes it sound like so primitive, but we're not a fully evolved kind of stage yet. So we actually wouldn't understand a lot of what they're trying to do, what they want. Which is why I do find that they still rarely push for our advancement spiritually, our intuition, our gifts, you know? They really want us to enhance our gifts as opposed to just giving us information and knowledge. So, but I'm going to try once more to get the music working, and then I'm going to begin with Jasmine. So I don't want to be messing around too much. Seems like it's working now, but we'll see. Okay, so let's begin with Jasmine. I believe that Jasmine wanted a bit more of a message. Because, yeah, you're on the list, Shayna. So I think Jasmine wanted a bit more of... I'm so sorry that I keep saying Jan, by the way. I think we were going to try and do a bit more of a message than just a spirit guide, I think. I'm just double checking our conversation. Oh yes, so you're talking about the members channeling, I think, on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see... So I'll see which origins come up, because I do believe that we've already tapped into... I know that there's a High Priestess. Lifetime. I was going to say guide, but it's not a guide when it's your past life, necessarily. So... I think that we will see what comes up, what origins come through, and then do a bit of maybe a message or something like that. I know we've had High Priestess in Atlantis, I believe. Maybe Egypt. But I will have a little look and see what... It's not again. I'm just going to play it on the tablet. I have to think about getting a new device or something, maybe. This one should be okay if it's not too hard. There we go. So let's begin with Jasmine then. Let's see who comes through. Okay, so for Lyran guide, coming through quite strongly there, that's a feline Lyran. I always forget to say, we do have avian Lyrans and feline Lyrans. So this is a feline Lyran coming through here. So I'm just going to see. Sometimes they kind of go and another one comes through. I know a lot of you have different origins. We're going to try to see if she wants to give a bit of a message here. hello, Kevin. Yes, we only have 4 people from the list in, so there probably is going to be time. Well, there definitely is going to be time for some other people. So if Disha, Peacock, Gretel, and Claudia and Kevin are still in, if any of you guys are still in, it's very likely you will get a reading. Okay, so that's quite interesting. It's not the longest of messages here, but it was interesting because a Lyran feline came in, so I do think I expressed that. So it was very interesting because what she said, so feel very strong, divine feminine energy, like I always say. Your guides might be male, they might be female, they might be a kind of, what you call that? Like a non-binary kind of. I'm sure there's non-binary kind of beings as well, like maybe some amphibian or insectoid type beings or something like that. But yes, I always go with like the energy that really feels here, that strong divine feminine energy. I just say that because sometimes people feel that they've connected with a guy before, but they rarely believe that it was male. So if you have seen like a feline being before and you've connected with them and you really feel that they're male, still go ahead and connect with them in that way and call them whatever you will call them. But I felt very strong feminine energy there, so just say that. So the message, keep following what is unknown. You are almost aligned on to your new higher path. So there's kind of a push and a encouragement of, just because it maybe feels a bit unknown, don't worry, keep following that, keep going with that. And then a very interesting thing happened, because now I don't feel that Jasmine has a mantid connection herself. So I don't feel that Jasmine has had a mantid, mantis being life. I don't feel that she particularly may not have a mantid being guide. But very often, so mantids are, I should say here, mantids are great healers, but in a very physical way, okay? So even beings who are vibrating at higher densities can still have a physical body in some way. When they come down to a lower density, they feel very physical. So the mantid beings are healers, but they're not healers in like an energy work sense or anything like that. They're healers in a very doctor kind of sense, surgical kind of sense. A lot of memories that people have about abductions and things like that. The doctor, the surgeon, whatever it is very often a mantid being, and they rarely do help beings of all types. But what she brought forward a mantid being, and she said, call on Ikar. So that was the name. Mantid. Mantis being or mantid being. I say mantid sometimes, so I don't know if that's correct. Mantid being. But the name, Ikar, so this is how I kind of saw it, but also kind of it was said as well. So just a little cricket emoji there, but it's not really cricket. But yeah, if you look up mantis, There's some really, really interesting ones, like beautiful ones, pink with like little kind of appendages that look like petals and things like that, because they're like camouflaging in to the surroundings. So very kind of stick insect type, but mantis being. And Ikar, so is the name. So call on this mantid being for aid with physical healing and strength. So a lot of the times, even on the... So when I take clients to astral bodies, to ET ships and things like that, it's not always a, you know, this is a Pleiadian ship, this is an Arcturian ship. A lot of the time there's 2 or 3 different types of ETs on there, and very often there is a mantid on there, and that's kind of their job, is the physical healing side. So connect with that being for aid with physical healing and strength. You will have fully integrated onto your new path by Lionsgate. So we all know Lionsgate is 0808, so the 8th of August. So very beginning week of August there. We are happy to make ourselves known to you when we are ready. Don't underestimate the power of the energy of places. You are drawn to certain places for a reason. Make sure you go. And I always think that this is very important as well. You know, sometimes when you just visit a place, even if you don't do anything there, you know, not doing a ritual there, I'm not doing anything particularly spiritual, I don't sit on the ground and meditate or anything, you can still really absorb the energy of that space. So, you know, when you're called to go somewhere, even if you don't, like, put your feet into the ground barefoot and meditate, and, you know, even if you don't have the time, or you're not with the right people who would want to do that with you or anything like that, you can still absorb the energy of the place. So often when we're drawn to places, it can be because we really we're ready for that kind of, those integrations, that energy, whatever that space has for us. And different spaces are good for different people as well. So like I was saying before, Chichen Itza, Mexico, perfect space for Pleiadian beings. If you're a Pleiadian starseed, go to Mexico at some point, go to Chichen Itza, very, very nice place. So that was Jasmine's message. She did think it was interesting because when she said, we're happy to make ourselves known to you when we are ready, she was talking about the Lyran starseeds there. But she was kind of giving you the Mantis starseeds as a energy for healing, you know, beings for healing and strength. But then going back on to talk about the Lyrans and talk about integrating onto this path. So it's almost like a full completion, a full cycle by Lionsgate, so by the beginning of August, having some level of, I suppose, knowing, you know, you probably look back and think, yeah, I integrated onto that. These were kind of the things I needed to do and complete before this time. So it's like kind of like a cycle, kind of like things completing and positive things happening. Very spiritually for Jasmine's life. Perhaps not all spiritually, you know, sometimes we are guided to meet. If you're a starseed from a certain place and someone else is, you might be guided to meet them. So it's not all individually, personally, you know, growth like that, like inner growth. Sometimes it can be connections as well, so meeting certain people. So, yes, you're very welcome, of course. So our next person who is on the list is Luna, so let's go ahead. And Miss Venus, if you're still here, don't worry, I'm timestamping for you. Oh, Miss Venus said I missed that, but we're part of their family of light. Yes. Oh, and yes, Kevin, you can have a reading at the end. I think I did respond to that, but just in case I didn't. So now we have Luna. I'm pretty sure Luna is still here. Let me just get a drink and I will have a little look at Luna's. Yes, Luna's here. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Luna, have you been told to connect with the Ascended Masters before? I know someone had this last time, and when I just got that message, I had a bit of kind of deja vu, So I'm just wondering, was that you? I'll write it down just in case. Connect. I mean, just in case I haven't told you before. Connect with the Ascended Masters. So I know that people from Sirius A, or who've spent time in being around Sirius A star planet, they are more closely connected to the Ascended Masters than a lot of people. A lot of us are kind of, we're kind of connected to like our starseed origin, whereas the Ascended Masters spends time themselves in Sirius A, and so we get that message a lot. Yes, okay, so yes, that's deja vu. I was guessing that's right. That's correct. Yes. So, did you connect with one? Did you feel connected to one yet? Because it's interesting. I think sometimes when we get a repeat message, it's because perhaps you haven't done that yet, or perhaps you've tried but you don't feel connected yet. So sometimes they kind of want to give you a bit of a push in that direction, or perhaps you searched a bit. Yes, okay. So perhaps you searched a little bit but you didn't feel too connected to a specific one. So that kind of just encouraging that, basically. But that's interesting because I was getting kind of like a water guide message, the Mintalkin connection there. And this is a message that I feel I've had similar messages like this from people who have angels that are connected to the element of water, different guides that are connected to water, not necessarily starseeds, but it is interesting nonetheless. The more natural the water is, the less processing it has, the more powerful its energy. Natural springs will be good for you. Cleanse with water, pray over it, state your intentions before drinking, and use this to connect with us, to manifest, and to cleanse. So it's interesting because usually when I get a similar kind of message to that is if someone has a water connected guide, they're often told to state their intentions over water before they drink, and then it's like a kind of manifestation practice. So you say what you want over this water, you really put the energy into that, saying that you want that, and of course when you drink it kind of goes into your body, goes into your cells, and you're becoming that energy, you're putting that energy into yourself. But it's interesting here because they're saying pray over it, and use this to connect with us as well. So I suppose there are different uses to this practice, not just about manifesting, but stating that you want to connect with them, maybe stating that you want to connect with them, thinking about them in Mintalkins, thinking about the energy of them over that water, and then drinking it, and yes, so sorry, just seeing that I like the water elements, and I was like, yes, because it's interesting practice, and I'm sure there are a lot of things we can actually do with it, and it's kind of like a tool, people who have, like, for example, fire element spirits. There's loads of practices with fire, candles, incense, everything that requires fire, but you can't consume it, So yeah, water's it's a really intimate way to connect. Very kind of powerful. And I actually do recall, I think you have been talking before, or you've definitely had a water life. I know Sirius B as well. Sirius B planet does have a fully water planet as well. So you could have different water planet connections as well. But yeah, it's really, really powerful to use water in different ways, you know, because it's so like safe and easy to do. We can always use water. I know that they were saying about the more natural water and everything like that, which maybe would require going to like a spring or something like that. But we all have taps and we all have like, you know, normal kind of water that we can use. So it's really nice because we can connect so closely with it. Wonderful. Yeah, so Kuan Yin, I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that's like a goddess, but I don't know if they're an Ascended Master or not. That's interesting if you feel connected, because that is one that I haven't like fully worked with or connected with myself, and they're Tibetan, so that's really interesting. I would like to. So I'm really interested in when these kind of come up, because when you guys feel connected to one, because I'm looking for. We haven't done one this month, but I'm looking for monthly meditations to gods and goddesses, you know. So I'm definitely going to do Shiva soon, as soon as possible. But Kuan Yin could be one that we do as well. Her name means one who hears the cries of the world. She's the most well-known goddess in the Chinese population. Wow. I need to learn a little bit more about the Ascended Masters, actually, because I don't know too much. I don't know every single one. Basically, I don't know every single one, but it's definitely still someone we could work with. Yeah, someone who we could work with and maybe do like a little meditation and prayer to as well. But yes, wonderful. So just kind of confirmation, I suppose, when you get the same guides coming through. Kind of like they're pushing to work with you, they want to work with you, they want to connect with you. Yeah, really, really nice. And I have been talking connection as well. If you look in the sky and you see Orion's belt, the Mintaka star is the leftmost star in Orion's belt. So it's a really nice one because you can see it so clearly. We can see Orion so clearly in most parts of the world. Who's next? Oh, the list's on the screen. I'm like, where's the list? Miss Venus, yes. So with Miss Venus, actually, we have some questions because Miss Venus saw the craft. So I have to get to these questions. I have to get off YouTube for a moment. So yes, but I'll just timestamp just in case she can't be fully aware. Listening if she is in work. Oh, 50 minutes? So let's just say like 53 minutes maybe. It might take me a while to do it. Or 52 actually. It's timestamp for her. So we have. Yeah. I'm really curious about whether the craft that we saw in Mexico was Pleiadian. What was the purpose of the coding activation I saw in my... Oh, that's a different dream. Sorry, different dream, a different question. Right, so I'm really curious about whether the craft we saw in Mexico was Pleiadian, okay? So let's check that first. Because I really feel that... I already felt that it was, but I think consult the mirror, consult the scrying mirror. If anyone hasn't seen it before, actually, I forgot to show it. It's a fully, oh yeah, a lot of fingerprints on there, but it's fully obsidian, mirror. So it's it's just obsidian full. Try to keep it in shot a little bit there. But it's a fully obsidian, like full solid obsidian block, and it's perfect for, in my opinion, for past life reading and starseed reading. I prefer it to the crystal ball for those things. So, now that I've finished blabbing on, let's do the questions. So I'm really curious about whether that craft we saw in Mexico was Pleiadian. I am too, and I would really like to confirm this. Yes, okay. So I have yes to Pleiadian. I can't spell that myself. I always spell that wrong. Yes, so it was Pleiadian. What is the purpose of the coding activation I saw in my meditation? When I wake up... Oh, wait. And when I wake up, shaky, vibrating all over my body in the middle of the night, like the last few nights, is that my astral body is having an experience. Okay, yes, let's look at these. So purpose of coding activation. Okay, so you have... Oh, I'm going to write it down first. Okay, so 3 things come through here for the purpose of the coding activation that I saw in my meditation. So we have upgrades to crown and third eye, upgrades to astral body, and abilities in travel distance. So this is very interesting. If any of you have astral projected, which I'm sure that most of you have, especially when you were a child, when we're children, we're not as kind of, integrated into the physical world as much, because we don't, we come here with no memory of where we've been most of the time. Some people do have past life memories, but we come here with no memory of anything. So it's kind of like integrating back into a physical body, and your senses, your spiritual senses, are more open when you're a child. You allow yourself to use your imagination, which is in your third eye. You're kind of more open to the possibilities, and the veil is a bit thinner for children, that veil between this realm and other realms, higher realms, and even sometimes lower realms, which a lot of children, they're having all of these negative experiences in the nightmares and all of that, which sometimes there can be some, if there's a lot of fear, tapping into lower. We do find that children are quite protected, but they can tap into lower as well, which is unfortunate, but it is less common. But The astral projection is a lot more common in children because of this, because of the veil thinning and all of that. And they're not, it's more kind of normal because you're closer to, you know, when you weren't in a body, basically, because you haven't, you know, now I'm like 31 years old, so it's been ages since I fully was not in the body. Obviously, when I astral project, I do leave my body, but there's still something here, you know, breathing and all of that. But yes, so the point was that children astral project easier, and a lot of you, I feel, even if you don't think you've had experiences, will have had experiences. But when we leave our body, sorry, there is kind of like a grid. When you get so high, there's like a grid, and it can be difficult to get past that grid. Sometimes there is kind of like astral, other astral beings that will try to kind of pull you down so you don't get past it. But not everyone basically has the ability to get past that grid, is what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to get to here. And just in case any of you have had experiences where you've seen that grid, you probably would have had it as a child, because they tend to be quite limitless in where they can go. They can go past the grid. Not everyone can. And when we have certain upgrades, like Miss Venus here, we can begin to expand the distance that we can go. So some of us can, you know, some people can astral project, but they can kind of just go around their street, you know. They can't really go to different dimensions, they can't go to the moon, you know. So sometimes you have different kind of upgrades that allow you that. So perhaps you've been all over the planet, but now you can go higher than the planet, you know. So it's all about your astral body being able to travel further. Sometimes that might be opening up new dimensions for you to travel to as well, because in astral projection, when we just travel like around our neighbourhood and we can still see physical things, it's called the real-time zone because you're still in our physical reality. But there are different dimensions you can go into as well. So it could be that she now has abilities in different dimensions. So it's not always about actual distance, you know. It can be about dimensions as well, different realms, should we say. But then another thing that came up that I thought was interesting and probably important, health protections. Health protections. So there's some codes, some maybe symbols that you've seen or channels as well, that are for protecting of health. So I just thought that was really interesting to point out, because of course when we do these practices, when we have these upgrades and all of that, we do often always think of the spiritual side, you know, the crown, the third eye, the astral body. But health protections, so really bringing it down to, you know, grounding us a little bit there into the physical, health protections as well. So then she also says here, when I wake up shaky and vibrating all over my body in the middle of the night, like the last few nights, is that my astral body having an experience. So yes, going to look into that. I know shaking and vibrating all over the body is a sign that you, with a lot of people, they will experience this. So they know they're going to leave because they have that vibrating all over their body. It's almost like, I mean, I've felt it before in astral projecting before leaving, and I've also felt it in sleep paralysis as well. And I know that a lot of people do have that because, of course, I've spoken to people and I've researched it myself. It is kind of a physical symptom of being able to leave usually, but let's see. Let's consult the mirror and see what we can see here. So waking up with the vibrating all over the body in the middle of the night, is it the astral body having an experience? Yes, so what I'm getting here is opening pathways to leave. So I think that resonates with what I was saying here. Opening pathways to leave. So it could correlate with this being able to go to different places as well, these different dimensions coming through. So that does kind of resonate with the above answer as well. But yes, I kind of knew it would be that, because that is a common occurrence with leaving. Yes, and then she says "or" and just gives an alternative example or explanation for what it could be. For physical upgrades, actually that's interesting, because what she's put here, so she's asking, is it the astral body having an experience, which came through as yes, but then she says, or is it that I'm going through physical upgrades to be able to hold more light? Is that kind of resonating in a sense with the health protections as well? Maybe, but being able to hold more light is interesting. Being able to let's just ask here. Have any recent upgrades enabled Miss Venus to hold more light? Let's ask that, because just because that wasn't the answer to the last question doesn't mean that isn't the case. So let's ask it. Okay, so I'm guessing yes on that, but sorry I was there for a little while then, but I'm getting a light being guide come through as well. A light being guide who is talking or kind of putting this energy out, expressing about the integrations of light. This is really interesting. So she's around 2 to 3 feet, if you were to physically see her, but she's a light being. There's a lot of pink and yellow coming through in this like light emanating from her. So she kind of has a figure. So I know that, you know, when we kind of, I guess, try to see in our physical bodies these beings, really interesting how she looks and what's kind of like around her there. So I'm just kind of drawing it. I'll send it to Miss Venus. Very, very interesting. Very cute. So she's emanating kind of a lot of light, so I'll just kind of draw rays around. So I'm not the greatest artist, and this is just a little quick sketch of what she looked like there, but we'll just kind of show her if you can see her properly. So this is her there. So she's kind of like this middle thing. She has like a head, very kind of, she fades out at the bottom there, and then she has these around her, and it was almost like she was holding them at times, like kind of going like this, holding them. So it's very, very interesting. Maybe they're kind of like a gift for Miss Venus, or they're kind of like almost physical representation of the light codes, or the whatever. She's kind of the upgrades that are being kind of put into your astral body, I suppose. But very, very nice. Very, very pretty kind of looking. So I'm just going to say thanks to the members, because I need to just my nose a second here. And my nose has been okay for a while, but it's just on my stream now. Okay, so I'm back. I might try to draw that out a bit nicer, actually. Yeah, like I said, I'm not the greatest artist, but I have painted before. I've been a painter before. I'd love to kind of try to draw how her arms kind of were. Kind of, I would call them arms when she was like holding it, but very, very beautiful. Oh, right, let me catch up with Miss Venus's, because I was off YouTube. Okay, so she says here, you're welcome, Luna, if you're still here. God bless you. Miss Venus says, Soarcraft and have been having some wild experiences. Yes. Beautiful. I feel like these things happening are related to my ET guides and helping me with Ascension. Yes, and like I said before, if you were here, I know that you... Oh, thank you so much. You're very welcome. Thank you. I don't know what it is. I think it's a super thanks or super sticker or something, but thank you so much. Yes, so the it's interesting because, like I was saying before when I was talking about my mother's experiences as well, is it's easier. I think that when we are astral projectors, when we are very spiritually connected, if you're a visual spiritual, you clairvoyant, you see things, and even if it's just in your third eye and not right in front of you, if you're visual, if you have very symbolic dreams that you remember a lot of the time, if you astral project, if you any way that you can kind of see very clearly or hear even very clearly, they are great ways to connect with ETs as well, because we kind of know a bit more about them now, like the kind of like unofficial communities like us, like spiritual communities, do know a bit more about them, because they what I know about them is that they do vibrate at different kind of frequencies. So when you are an astral projector, when you do go out of body, it can be easier to connect with them, because instead of them coming down to 3D density and like physically, taking you or talking to you or, being very physical, it's kind of easier if you can astral project. It's easier for them. You can kind of go and find them and connect with them and all of that. And I think that, so when you have activations, in your astral body and it's very astral focused, it does connect with them because they are vibrating at that level. But let me just read what else she says here. Kind of like the macabre traveling with my light body. Yes. Great, I need it. I've been asking for health and regeneration of my body. Yes. So, yes. So very much like physical protections. I would say mostly it felt kind of like protecting anything else from happening to you. But if that's the beginning of your physical kind of activations, it could progress into, first they're protecting anything else from happening, then it could be healing, going on that path and having healing. And she says, thank you, I've been wondering about both. If I'm vibrating because they're physical activations like preparing my body, it is still possible. I think that when you are kind of like an astral traveler with abilities like that, I think they can utilise that a bit easier, because, you sleep every night, so it's very easy to kind of astral project if you can. But that doesn't mean that they're not also helping with physical activations as well. Very, very possible. But thank you very much for the little tip. It means a lot. I'm really, really grateful. I'm so grateful, because Miss Venus is already a member, so there's no need. But it's very kind. It's very kind, and I do appreciate it. So the next person we have in from the list is Shayna, I believe. But we do have Abby and Takeo now. So that's great because they're also on the list. So let's see. We have Shayna here. So I think with Shayna, there's no we haven't done a reading guide. I don't think. I don't think we've actually done a Yay, Shayna's here. Okay, that's great. Because I don't think we've actually done a reading in terms of even seeing the origin yet. So this will probably just be a actually checking the origins first. But we'll see if we can get any kind of message as well. But yes, usually on the first time, it's seeing what origins come through here. Getting a very visual view of the origins and of or your past Starseed Live, your guides maybe come through. So we'll see what comes through here. And I apologise if you have had a reading before and I forgot about that, but I don't believe so. This is very interesting because what I'm seeing here is kind of like, I know quite a bit about kind of like Atlantis, Lemuria, the so I will just explain it a little bit because I know people who've been on before will know that I've spoken about this, but Shayna may not. So the portals, Atlantis and Lemuria, people often believe that they were just kind of like advanced cities in their own, individual kind of like their own little part of the world. They were just kind of these advanced cities and or countries or whatever, and they kind of fell. And then, Earth kind of, I suppose, downgraded to like a lower frequency and they kind of just fell. But actually, the Atlantis and Lemuria and Egypt as well had portals there, and they were all like connected, so you could go. Lyra had one, different parts of the universe and space, different constellations, different places basically across the universe had these different portals, and you could go through them. You could go to different parts of the universe and also sometimes different realms as well. And there was keepers of these portals in Atlantis and Lemuria. Sometimes high priests, high priestesses would be like these trusted people. They weren't like these kind of royals that just sat and were like kind of worshipped. They were really trusted, and they would kind of have councils, and they would choose which realms and which kind of which realms and which locations in the universe, should we say, that they would allow and wouldn't allow passage through in the portal. And there was a disagreement in Atlantis where there was some of the council did want to let through this kind of lower realm, and some did not. And the ones that did, it was a mistake, and everything kind of went wrong from there. And they let in lower frequencies, basically they let in negative energy, they let in a lot of bad things through these portals. And so the portals, what we kind of believe as the kind of main story is that because they let through this negative energy, Earth just kind of began to kind of fall, and especially these areas, these places that were really high vibrational came down, crashing down in their vibrations, kind of became, like Atlantis and was flooded, wasn't it? And all of that, and they were just kind of punished, I suppose, for this mistake, this error in this. And it's interesting because in your reading, I can see, so we have Mentarchan come through, so that I will touch on that in a second. But this Atlantean one, so you were an Atlantean, but you weren't a. It doesn't feel like you were a high priest or priestess. It doesn't feel like you were in the kind of the close council that made the final decision, but you were still quite high up, and you knew that this kind of decision was being made, basically. But you weren't in like the close circle. I suppose the people who have the final decisions would be like the high priests and priestesses, and you were still an Atlantean, still very kind of trusted and high up, but you knew that this decision was being made. You knew that it was a bad decision, and you actually left before the fall of Atlantis. So you weren't there for this like kind of cataclysmic event. You left. You disagreed with it. You disagreed with the fact that they were even thinking about it, and it really upset you because to you it was quite obvious that it was the wrong decision. But you went to Egypt, and you what you ended up doing is finding kind of like a spiritual religious kind of group. I would say they were more kind of spiritual religious than the kind of the occultish magician type of groups. They were very kind of giving and charitable kind of group. but they protected a remaining portal in Egypt. So there was a remaining portal, which is interesting because I know there are some remaining in the in Orion, in different locations of the universe, but it's interesting that there was still one active. So after this mistake in Atlantis, there was still one active in Egypt, which I didn't know. So seeing that, it's very interesting, and I've learned here. So you fled to Egypt basically because you knew it was the wrong decision. You kind of joined this spiritual, religious, very charitable group. I'm going to write charitable there as well. Really nice. Lifetime, of course, you were very fearful, and I'm sure you lost people as well in this, when they did open it. But yeah, it was still active for years after, and you protected that. With this group, you protected it. They hid the fact that the portal, still worked. So, there was kind of like after this happened, it's what it seems like, because after this happened, in this location, of course, they made the decision to protect this portal and, say that it wasn't working anymore before you found them, I suppose, or just after you found them, perhaps. Actually, it'd be interesting to see if you warned them or not, because I didn't see that, but yes, you fled, you found these people, and you were kind of made aware, let to know that this portal still worked, and you were a protector of it. And you all agreed, so everyone in this group did agree, including you, that it should be kept hidden now that it still worked, because you didn't want something like that to happen again. You were kind of, I suppose, relieved that the whole of Earth wasn't like destroyed or anything. So you rarely agreed with this decision to keep that a secret. And spend the rest of your life with this group, the spiritual group in Egypt. So I think that was really beautiful. So I did get that Mentorcan come through first, but that lifetime, your Atlantean lifetime, really took centre stage there, really coming through there. Very, very interesting, because I did learn a bit from that, so that's really nice. But Mentorcan, so just in case you don't know, I think I just said, the Mentorca star is the very left star of Orion, so you will have lived in a planet that orbits that star, basically. They were full water planets, or majority water. Some of them did have some land, but the water there is very different than the water here. It's when we kind of swim through water or walk through water, it's very difficult. We're pushing against the tide, literally. It's not like that there. It's very easy to get through. It's almost like flying through, and it's very clear. So even when the water's very deep, you can see the bottom. It's very, very clear and not very dense. And another thing that I always find interesting, a lot of Mentorcan people will know I do say this quite a lot, but I do like to, if you're new and you've never had a Mentorcan guide come through, then it's good to know. The Mentorcans, they have a different extra lobe in their brain, so extra lobe, which allows them to see things very differently. So where I'm kind of looking at this mirror and I can't see the back of it unless I look in the camera there, but they can. So they can kind of see, it's more than like our observable abilities, if that makes sense. So they can see around, they can see inside things. It's very kind of advanced vision, if that makes sense. To them, it's obviously it looks normal, but if we just kind of stepped into that, sometimes with people who astral project or remote view, they might kind of shift into a different kind of body, like take, kind of remote view in a different body. And sometimes the reason why you might wake up and feel like it was a dream, or it was really strange, or you don't remember it well, it's because of that. When you're remembering a past lifetime, sometimes the way that their body and their brain works is so different to us that when we try to remember it, or we try to put it into words, it's difficult. We can't really remember it. But so I can spell that. So it's Mentorcan. there. So that's or you will be Mintalka. So the star is Mintalka. I'm pretty sure the star is Mintalka. And let me just double check. I'm pretty sure the star is Mintalka, and there was planets around it. Yes. But they're called Mintalka because they were from that kind of star system. But Orion is one of the places that was very, very. So don't forget, Mintalka is in Orion's belt. Orion was one of the constellations, one of the locations that was very, very destroyed in a galactic kind of war. And I do believe it had some things to do with the fact that they had a portal there as well. And I kind of believe that one of their portals would have still worked, possibly even still works now, and that's why they were kind of attacked in a way. There could have been other reasons for it, but that's kind of what I feel with it, especially from having this confirmation now that there was still a portal working in Egypt as well. But yes, so Mintalka. Oh yes, Orion. So Orion, sorry. So Orion was one of the places that was very, very badly destroyed. So there's kind of less going on there now than there was back then. In that lifetime, would have been a lot more beautiful and interesting. Whereas now, there's a lot of kind of healing going on there. There's some ETs from kind of all over that go there, try to like fix it, repair it, whatever damage has kind of been done there, they're kind of trying to just make it nice and habitable and nice again. So Shayna, Palladium did not come through at this moment. That's what came through. But I think that what they really wanted to show me, or what I was really kind of needing to be shown there, was that Atlantean lifetime. So that's not to say that you don't have Pleiadian guides or Pleiadian lifetime. We all have had many, many lives in many star systems and many realms as well. So it's not always even extraterrestrial. Sometimes we have these interdimensional lives that come through as well. So yeah, it's very, very possible that you also have Pleiadian guides or Pleiadian or a past Pleiadian lifetime. But that is what came through most strongly at this time. But what I always say, if you feel really, really connected to a certain like race of ETs or whatever, there will be a reason for that. Sometimes it's because you've had a lifetime there. Sometimes it's because you have guides from there and you will have a lifetime there in the future. Sorry. I have Andromedan guides. I have not lived there yet, but they tell me that I will one day. So yeah, sometimes that kind of happens as well. But very interesting, and you're welcome. You're very welcome. So now I think Takeo is the next person, I believe. Is that right? Sorry, this is the wrapping for my mirror. I like to keep it nice and protected. Yes, Takeo. If you're still here. Oh, so we've done 4 already. Did we do Luna? Did I miss Luna? Or is Luna... Oh no, I did do Luna. Oh yes. Oh, my memory. Okay. Okay, yes. Let's do Takeo now. Okay, so it's interesting a few things kind of came through when I was looking here. So first I did see this kind of male kind of high priest lifetime that I definitely know I've seen before. Pretty sure I've gotten that through before. I mean, I just kind of saw it in some ceremony in kind of, very visually here. But I also saw something that I do feel is new. A Lyran Avian lifetime. So this is interesting because there's a Lyran Avian coming through here, but they're also kind of connecting you with the Octorians as well. So they're saying here, and it's quite interesting because this seems to be new, and this has happened before in Orion. So like I was saying that Orion has had, there's been a war that's kind of rarely affected this area, and there's some kind of healing, regeneration, kind of building going on there. There's still, when we connect with our guides and starseed guides, especially, remember how vast the universe is. There is also negative ETs, negative energies, negative beings, even if they're not ETs, even if they are kind of negative forces coming through these portals. It could be. It may not necessarily be ETs. It could be from lower realms, lower vibrational realms. But it's interesting because it's happened in Orion, and they're talking about it more recently here. So they're saying that they're losing some connection with the Earth starseeds. So it's interesting as well because Lyran Avian tends to be one of the lesser origins that comes through for people. I get a lot of Lyran felines come through, but not a lot of Lyran Avians. They're saying that they're losing connection with some Earth starseeds, and they request more spiritual work to be done to connect with them. And then they're kind of bringing through the Octorians and saying Octorian guides are willing to work with you if you wish to connect. So attempts are made to suppress them. Attempts are made to suppress the Lyran Avians. So some kind of dark energy, dark forces kind of trying to get through to the Lyran Avians. Beware of where you put your time and energy. There is a lower energy faction that destroyed a lot of Orion trying to attack them. So that's what I was just saying there. Just as starseeds, so this is kind of important. So just as starseeds reincarnate on Earth, so do the negative forces. So sometimes the negative beings, the negative forces can reincarnate to Earth. And I have seen this before. I've seen people who are really positive from Orion, and then the people who, came in and destroyed Orion, both reincarnate into Earth. And they tend to be, they clash without really knowing why. And it can even be the negative force can be very, very horrible and suppressing and negative and psychic attacks and everything, and you probably won't know why. You'll probably be like, I haven't done anything to this person, and they're doing a lot wrong and being not a nice person. So that's why they're saying beware of where you put your energy, because there is at the moment, some negative energy being drawn to the Lyran Avian starseeds. So just beware. If there is anyone negative, kind of try to keep them at arm's length, because they might be unintentionally and without knowing why, because of course, just as we are reincarnated not remembering our past lives, the negative forces are as well. They don't know that they're coming here to be horrible, but it can just happen. It can just kind of be their personality. They may be drawn to bring your energy down. So just be careful. Be kind of mindful, be careful. Work with the Octorians for protection and activations. So they're really trying to push for the the Lyran Avians to have activations now, to be a bit more in their spiritual self, connecting more with their guides and things like that. And the Octorians are great for that. The Octorians are really great for third eye activations, enhancing spiritual abilities and all of that. So you're having a connection now with Octorian and with Lyran Avian, and being asked to connect with the Octorians as well. So yes, connect with the Octorians, see what comes through, see who you can connect with, ask for spiritual activations, ask for information if you want. But yes, great connection with the Lyran Avians, and some connection with Octorians as well, and requests to work with the Octorians. So that's quite interesting, because I remember that High Priest lifetime coming through. I really remember that. But the Lyran Avians definitely knew. And if you feel any kind of... A lot of people really resonate with the Octorians, and if you do, then that might be why they can really be helpful to you. So... Oh, Abby! I think we have Abby in. I think I saw Abby. Did see Abby, right? But I think that's it from the list. Is anyone else from the list here? Excuse me? I'm just double checking to see who has, just in case some people do email or message saying they can't make it but they want a timestamp. So I just want to really make sure that I'm not missing anyone if they do need me to. But if Abby's in already, then that's great, of course. She will go first because she's already in. But just think I'm really behind. Do you know how I can get so behind on the chat bot? No. Yes, Abby. So it's Abby then. Okay, that's great. But Takeo, let me know if you're still here. What do you think? Lyran Avians? Octorians? Do you feel connected to either? I know some of us feel particularly connected already. So, no, they're not attached to you. They're not negative entities attached to you. It's being mindful where you put your energy. So if you feel a particular person, an actual person, is negative, you feel an actual person is kind of trying to bring your energy down, don't connect, just basically it's about keeping yourself a bit protected, protecting your energy. Sometimes we have to cut cords with people, we have to cut people off a little bit, if they're really bringing you down. That's not to say you have one argument with your best friend and you cut them off. But if someone's really bringing you down, you might experience psychic attacks. So sometimes they're not in person, you know. They're not someone who's really making themselves known, but you might be getting some attacks. So it's just about keeping up your protection. I don't feel that you have an attachment. It might be worth checking just in case. But I don't feel automatically like an attachment on you physically, but it's more about being protected from psychic attacks or from particularly negative people, basically. Yeah, so just really to kind of like stay protected, connect with the Octorians as much as you can if you can, you know, even if you just find like some meditations, you know, online or anything like that. The Octorians are really great because they're so spiritually connected. Their mission is very spiritual, so they can protect you spiritually, they can help you progress spiritually as well. So no, it's not to say that you have negative entities. If you feel that you do, it might be worth checking, but it's more about people's energy bringing you down, or people sending you psychic attacks. So very much trying to keep protected as much as you can. Yeah, but let's get to Abby's. And yes, if you have any other questions, just put them in the chat because I will answer them. Happy to answer them. Sorry, it's kind of like, it's a bit of a beanbag kind of thing, so it kind of loses its shape after a while. Okay, so looking at Abby's now. Oh, I have a very beautiful guide come through here. This is a Sirius B water planet guide. So that's interesting because it's very similar to Mintalken. So they're very kind of, you know, mermaid type, you know, like it's a water planet, so that they are quite humanoid, but it's also is it amphibian the right word? I think it is. I'm sorry if that's wrong, but you know, like a water being basically. It's a water planet, so yes, a water being. There may be small sections of land, like I think amphibians where they go on land and in water, if I'm correct. But yes, very, very water planet. We have this guide here, very beautiful, very kind of humanoid, but yes, like kind of mermaidish, scale-ish kind of being coming through that. So Sirius B water planet. Let's just see. Abby, I don't know if you've had a reading before. Here. Because sometimes I'll just like try to find out what origins I can find out, but I will try to get a message as well. So you have Sirius B. Let's just see, because you haven't had another reading, I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to see if we get any other origins come through first before we try to get a bit of a message here. I'll kind of keep her there. She's very kind of prominent, you know, coming through. Okay, for Iron Feline as well. So like I said before, what did I? There are Lyran avians, which are obviously bad. So yeah, sorry, Lyran avians are bad like beings. So I know some people know that because the word avian, but not everyone does. So really sorry if I didn't say that before to Tego. Lyran avian is a bad like being. Bad like. But the Lyran felines, so they are of course cat like. So the Lyran kind of races or species or whatever you want to call them, they're very So a lot of ETs are very humanoid. So we have, of course, even the Greys. They're even though they have the massive heads and massive eyes, they're still very humanoid in the way that they look. Um, and so are like the Sirius B. They're yes, there is like whale type beings, and there is very kind of sea creature type beings there, but there is also humanoid, kind of like the mermaid style, like I said. But the Lyrans, they tend to be avian or feline, and they tend to be very kind of yes, they have like the arms and legs like us, but the bodies are very animal like, very like the felines look very feline, and then the avians they have some feathers and things like that. So yes, the Lyrans are very interesting. Lyran feline, I have Lyran feline connection as well. So it's always interesting to see when, because I have Lyran feline, I have Mintarkin, and I also have Andromedan. So interesting, actually. Abby, very similar to me, Lyran feline, and then Sirius B water planet is very similar to Mintarkin, so very nice. So just going to see if another origin comes through, or if we could just get a message. So this is very interesting because, like, I got before this message about the Egyptian portal. So when we looked at Shayna, I think. Yes, she was an Atlantean who left before the fall of Atlantis, and she protected the remaining portal in Egypt after Atlantis collapsed. And it was still active for years after. They hid the fact that the portal still worked. And it's interesting that we've got that, and now we have, so kind of like piecing together some things that I didn't know about these origins. The beings, so beings could still pass through these portals, let's not forget. So there was still this portal at Egypt, and beings could still pass through it. But now, after so long of the portal being protected, there would generations and generations will have passed, and they will no longer be used to loads of beings, coming through and coming and going, and different beings from different star systems anymore. There'll be a lot less use to that. So when it says here that after that, when the beings that could pass through the Egyptian portal for many years after Atlantis, the beings that came through after generations when the portals were forgotten about or hidden, they were seen as gods. So some of the beings that came through were seen as gods. And it's interesting that we see this because we see, like, we did a goddess kind of meditation worship on the stream a couple of months ago, 2 months ago I think, to Sekhmet. And Sekhmet, of course, was an Egyptian goddess, feline goddess. So some of the ETs that came through were seen as gods and goddesses. And you have Lyran feline connection. And of course, there are many Egyptian feline gods and goddesses. And they say that working with these feline gods or goddesses will benefit you and your connection to us. So they're kind of talking about, really kind of not seeing these beings as gods and goddesses, but seeing them as Lyran beings and connecting with them, working with them, meditating with them and things like that, which is very interesting because I'm kind of putting together like some of the kind of starseed history that I didn't know about. So it's very nice. And yes, so you have feline, Lyran feline, which is lovely. And to be honest, I do kind of imagine this with Sekhmet and with some of the Egyptian gods and goddesses, but only because I have Lyran connection myself. So I like to kind of, see Sekhmet in that way, as a possible Lyran because she's feline. So I think that's very, very nice that came through. And I wonder if you feel a connection to Egypt or anything like that. Do you feel like a connection to Egypt? Did you join on the Sekhmet meditation? Because I can't remember if you were there or not. Because it could be a meditation for you to kind of go back and focus on. Do you feel a kind of connection to either of those things? I think a lot of people who have Sirius B, Water Planet, or Mintargan connection feel very connected to mermaids, or something like that, and then, or water even, and of course cats, feline, Lyran, cat-like beings. Do you feel a connection to anything like that? Do you feel like that kind of resonated with you? Or do you feel connected to a different origin that didn't come through? Because that does happen sometimes as well. We have many lives in many star systems and many realms. So you could possibly have others. And then also, you feel connected to felines for sure. That's wonderful. Yeah, I think Sekhmet was my most popular one of the connecting with higher powers meditations. And I think a lot of us felt very connected to Sekhmet. But yeah, I think there's Bastet as well. There's a few feline gods and goddesses, so it may be worth connecting with them, focusing on them. And it's nice that you do feel connected to felines. It's always nice to have some confirmation. Like, sometimes with the water planets, you get people who love water and feel really connected, and you get people who are scared of water. And I think that's also because, like I said before, in these water planets, the water's so much clearer than our water, you know? They can be like so high up and still see the ground beneath them. And the water's a lot easier to kind of navigate. It's very kind of not as dense as here. So sometimes when water planet starseeds come here, they actually feel more scared of water because it's different, you know, it's so different. So it goes kind of both ways with the water planets, I find. And do we have anybody else? You're kind of scared, yes. So it does go both ways. Sometimes people, because you, even though you don't remember it properly, you probably do have some subconscious memory of how different that water was. And so water on this planet would scare Sirius B beings. If they came here, they'd be like, this is so strange. I think they would be scared of it. So it's interesting when people are scared of water when they come here. And also our bodies as well. Our bodies aren't like, you know, we don't breathe underwater or anything like that. And a lot of the Sirius B beings would be able to breathe underwater. So for us, it's scary. It's so scary when you no longer have that body that's able to do that. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the origins that came through for you. And if you do come on another Starseed session, and you can request a message from a specific Starseed guide if you want, and I can try that, or just a message from any guide that comes through if you want. So don't worry, if there's another Starseed reading soon, you're very welcome to still join on it and just ask for kind of a message to come through. But always nice to get the origins to come through first, just to see who comes forward for you. Especially guides. So Abby, if you're still here, the Sirius B female, I feel like she is a guide for you as well. So sometimes I'm just showing the past lives. So the Lyran, well, of course, they've also said you can connect with the feline gods here. But I do feel that the Sirius B being was a guide for you. So not showing me who you were in a past life, but your guide here. So you do have a Sirius B guide as well from that lifetime, from having that lifetime. But also a Lyran feline lifetime. But yes, that was a guide coming through there, just to make it clear. Sometimes I am shown the lifetime, sometimes I'm shown a guide from that time or from that origin. And Kevin, we have Kevin, yes, okay, wonderful. I'm quite behind in the chat, I do feel. I think it's still slow for me, but that's wonderful that you're still here. That's really great. So we'll see what comes through. I do remember that you have Octorian guide, so Octorian origin, I believe. But let's focus and see. We can maybe get a different origin, or see if we can get a bit of a message come through. Sorry, 1 second. Just my nose again. Have you channeled symbols, Kevin? Have you channeled symbols? Channeled symbols? Okay. Yes. So the way that they're saying that kind of sounds. Sometimes I have to kind of gauge whether this like past or future or like what they're really trying to put there. Like I will try to differentiate if this is a guise that I'm seeing or if it's you from that origin. So a ET guide from Octorus could be very different from how you were when you were there, if that makes sense. And that sounds complicated, but yeah, the guides can be kind of different than you in that lifetime. So you may have been female in that lifetime, but you have a male guide come through. So and sometimes they put things to me, and I have to kind of differentiate myself. Is this present or future, or So I'll go over what has come through already. So you have a light being come through, which is very common with starseed channeling. They're kind of more, they're a lot more interdimensional than just extraterrestrial, and I know that a lot of ETs are, because they're kind of raised to this higher vibration where they can be interdimensional as well as extraterrestrial, which is how they can become physical and slow their vibration down, I suppose, to get to our density, and then they can be physical here. Some of them can, but a lot of them are very not all of them can go every single place, if that makes sense. So a light being is very interdimensional and extraterrestrial. A light being is very holistic and all-encompassing. They can go to any location and just travel, almost like astral travel, They're very kind of fluid in their being. They're not, even if you do see them before you, they're not physical. You could, put your hands kind of through them. Not that you would want to do that, but you could. So light being guides coming through there. Pleiadian coming through, which I believe is a first for you. I could be wrong, but that felt very new. Arcturian, which I don't feel is new. I think that's come through before. And Sirius A as well. So I'll just talk over this a little bit. So first of all, Pleiadian. So the Pleiadian is saying, make sure you do your part in the care and conservation of Earth physically. So they're not discounting, any meditations, any prayers, but it's very beneficial to do things like that. You should pray for the Earth. You should do some meditations on Earth healing or whatever it is, But they're talking about physically here. So they're talking about collecting seeds, planting trees, things that are very physically helpful. So collecting seeds, growing your own plants, planting them in your garden or wherever. Having some input into, like, not everyone can just go and buy a tree and plant it, but you can donate a little bit of money, or to charities that do that, or you can there's groups. So around here where I am anyway, there's kind of like groups that you can do. It's not really allotment, because they're like big acres of land, but they have events on where they plant trees, where they grow different plants and all of that. So it's just about expanding our kind of ecosystem in a way. So it could even be I suppose things like building ponds, just things that are really physically helpful too. So for a lot of people who can't just go out and like plant plants, I always say collect seeds, because the Pleiadians are always really saying that, because they have this worry about this negative timeline that you may have heard me talk about before. So they have this worry about this potential negative timeline. Now they do rarely stress to me that it's not our most prominent timeline, and it's very, very most possible that we're not going to go this way, but it's kind of like this little possibility that is a possibility, where there's a company on Earth, you may know who they are if you're a bit conspiracy minded, but what they're doing is they're altering foods a lot, okay? And I'm not saying that it's for a negative purpose. Ideally, I don't think that they want this to happen, but eventually they will make seeds that don't grow. Plants, where the seeds don't grow. So they will plant their seeds and they will make plants, but it's like almost like a self-destruct plant. So it will grow one plant, and then the seeds will not be fertile in that plant. So you can eat the fruits of that plant. You can eat the tomatoes or whatever. But if you go to try to plant the seeds from that tomato in your own garden, it won't grow. And this is could be done to try to have like a monopoly on something that's very important to us, all the food that we grow here. And they rarely see this as a not very prominent but possible timeline for Earth, and they worry about it. So even though it's not a huge possibility, they do feel that we're aligning onto the positive path. They do worry about it. So they like to encourage Pleiadian starseeds, or anyone, but especially Pleiadian starseeds, when you have your own contact with your Pleiadian guides or anything like that, you may get this message, and I do believe many people around the world do, and it's all about collecting seeds, because if there is that path, if we do go onto it, all of the Pleiadian starseeds will have big collections of seeds in their house, and we will be able to grow more plants, because all of the Pleiadian starseeds will have, heeded this warning, collected those seeds, and they will there'll be a possibility of regrowing the Earth in a positive way. So they really don't see us going down this timeline. The more I connect with them, the more they kind of see this timeline closing, but they do still give this warning to really just be safe. I have my own. I have a big in this cupboard that's behind us here, behind you. I have a big collection of seeds, so I do it too, even though I don't have Pleiadian guides, but I've heard the warning and I do it. I think that makes so much sense, since the business I usually ask about my father is a farm and agricultural plot. Yes, so that makes a lot of sense as well. Perhaps your father has Pleiadian connection as well. But yes, I do believe that Pleiadian starseeds do get a message. Sometimes they get direct messages like this when they're very spiritual, but sometimes when they're not, they can just be guided to do something like that. So have things like allotments or plots and everything in their family line kind of thing. So yes, anything you can do. So if you have the capability, it's very good to do that. But even if you don't, even if you can't do the bigger things, collecting seeds is a perfect way. But yes, growing anything yourself is perfect. So that's great. But then we also have the Arcturian guys, who I do believe you have connected with or channeled before. So balanced with us, they say, balanced. So the Pleiadians coming through as the very physical side, the very help Earth on the very physical level, and then we have the Arcturians who are really trying to help on a very spiritual level. So they're saying they're balanced a little bit there. Keep trying, they said. Third eye activations are coming up or continuing. So I wasn't really sure if they were saying it as though it's already begun and it's kind of an ongoing thing, or they're coming in a short while or whatever. But they are really talking about an ongoing period of third eye activations. May have started already, may just be coming in, but they're talking about this period of third eye activations. And then they did say about channeling symbols, and the way they said it, I really thought maybe you had already done this, but they're saying that you will then channel some symbols, and it's very good for focusing on in meditations, but also for putting where you're drawn to. So if you're drawn to, put one, I don't know, beneath your bed, or in your kitchen, near your tap or something, because some symbols are for specific reasons. So for example, let's say that one of the symbols you channel is for purifying water, cleansing water, then you may be guided to put it near a tap or near a shower, or something like that. If the symbol is for helping plants grow, you might be guided to put it beneath a plant pot, or in this plot somewhere, if you can, even energetically as well, so yes, channeling symbols, but also being guided to put them in the right places as well. So that is very much what it's about. And then The light being guide said they were going to be with you for some time, for protection and spiritual travel as well. So sometimes spiritual travel is could be if you're going to a certain place because you're spiritually drawn to it. So it can be physical, it can be like sacred sites, you know. I do often go to sacred sites, and you can be very drawn to do that, and you may be drawn to do that, and they'll protect you and guide you there and help you and everything like that. Spiritual travel can also be astral projection or dream travel, you know. Dream travel, going places in your dreams, going places in the astral. So there can be different meanings for that. But they're talking about protection for you for that. So that's really great as well, especially if it's physically travelling, so you're protected on your journey. Well, even for astral projection as well, because I think one fear many people have is something else getting in your body, or like an attachment or entity or something. So they're affirming that you'll be protected, whatever that spiritual travel is for you. And the last thing that did come through, that I thought was very interesting, is the light being guide is likely going to have a lifetime connection with you, because they say that they will take you to Sirius A for healing after this lifetime. So it's very interesting because you have a Sirius A connection, but you haven't been there yet. And that's similar to me with my Andromedan connection. So I'm really connected to Andromeda, but it's a future lifetime that I'm going to have. You're connected to Sirius A, but it's a future lifetime that you're going to have. Sirius A is the planet where a lot of the Ascended Masters go to. It's a very nice kind of healing haven for healing if you do need healing, which you always do after death, especially very physical, like low density death here. It'll be very positive to go there and have that healing there. So your light being guide's going to oversee that journey for you as well and be there with you throughout this lifetime. So I thought that was, the light being was a very nice kind of addition to come through. I'm kind of trying to keep things in like organised, so I think I might do a kind of a realm reading where I can see like what different realms people have been in. I do feel that light beings probably will come through on that one as well, but I don't mind putting them in with ETs because a lot of people do consider them as ETs. So yeah, but light being, Sirius A where you haven't been yet, Arcturian, and Pleiadian coming through. I would love astral travelling. I feel like my dreams have been a little more active than usual since last week. Okay, so perhaps you're just beginning on this third eye activation then, because third eye activation will certainly come with intense dreams or more symbolic or more spiritual dreams. So that's good. That's a good kind of symptom, if you will, especially if they're positive dreams, you know. But yes, be mindful. Be mindful that you might meet your own guides in your dreams and you might get messages from them as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I think that is really interesting because as far as I remember, I only remember Arcturian with you. I don't remember if anything else has come through before, but that was nice to get quite a few. So yeah, well, thank you for joining, because like hardly anyone did join, so everyone kind of forgot here. So I think that's everyone. I'm just going to double check if Shweta asked for a timestamp. I don't know why I thought that. Okay, well, love, light and blessings to each of you. If there is no one left, then we may end it here. But for anyone who's still here, just to say, please do send in your dreams if you haven't already for our dream interpretation live stream coming up soon. And do we have anyone left? I don't think we do, but just double checking. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Kevin. Love, light and blessings to you. Okay, that's wonderful. So I do think that's everyone, man. Thank you for joining. Love, light and blessings. Thank you especially to our members here. I always have to try and remember to put them up there. So thank you very much to our members of all tiers: root chakra, heart chakra, and crown chakra, and our mod Leon as well, of course. So thank you very much. Do check out the upcoming streams on my homepage for any other streams you would like to be on. Let me know if you want to be on any, and feel free to give me suggestions, suggest a stream. Very, very welcome to do so. Love, light and blessings to each of you over and over, and I hope to see you very, very soon on a upcoming stream.